Yo, what is up, everybody? John from Tau Tactics here, bringing you another video. This week we had some pretty massive changes to the three meta boogeymen. It's Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights, and Death Guard. So we're going to walk through what those changes are. Importantly, what didn't change from those armies, so we can have an idea of what types of lists we're going to see coming out, kind of predict the meta as Tau players, and hopefully identify some answers as those new archetypes roll out. But before we hop into today's video, I want to give a shout out to our channel sponsor, Secondhand Geek. I've been working with Secondhand Geek to build a couple awesome giveaways for September. One is going to be Ox Cadre focused, the other one is going to be Monka focused. Before I even release exactly the details of those giveaways, just want to let you guys know that in order to get involved in those giveaways, all you have to do is completely free. Use my referral link down below to sign up with Secondhand Geek if you haven't already. That will automatically enter you into these two giveaways coming up at the beginning of September. But without further ado, let's hop right into the video. So, as you can see, as far as Chaos Knight changes are concerned, they got a pretty big smacking on all their big knights. The Despoiler in particular was pretty rough with the double Gatling cannons. Also, all the big knights basically went up. So what this means is the 6 big knight archetype is essentially dead. You can no longer take that. You can only take 5 bigs and 1 small knight. What you'll see here, though, and the thing I think to point out here is that these units did not go down. Or did not go up, excuse me. So the Brigand, Executioner, Huntsman, I think as far as archetypes are concerned, you might see something like 3 big knights and 4 littles, or more commonly, just a bunch of little knights. So something to think about from Tau's perspective. I think our knight matchup got a little bit worse because of the likelihood of them bringing little knights is more consistent. So I don't think it's going to change a ton as far as like how we approach list building. I think if you're not bringing at least 3 broadsides in the list, you're crazy. I think Skyrays are also really great because of that shrink 14 breakpoint, and they can kind of go both be efficient into the bigger knights, but also the smaller knights. So I think, as far as Chaos Knights is concerned, it's a pretty straightforward matchup where we really just need to be bringing the damage to take out these knights, and our most efficient damage pieces are going to be those that have a few high quality shots to really test that 5-up invuln. So lots of broadsides, lots of Skyrays. That's where I would start if I was going to tech into Chaos Knights specifically. Awesome, and now we have Death Guard. So, Death Guard also got hit a bunch. You can see a lot of the units that were taken in the Mortarian's Hammer list specifically got touched. So, the Plague Risk Crawler went up 15 points. The Bloat Drones all went up a bunch of points. But you'll notice is there are a few units in here that didn't really get touched at all, and that's Plague Marines. Now, a couple of their characters did get bumped, but I think for 60 points, almost every Death Guard player that I listened to said the Biologist Putrefies of Steel. For those of you who don't know, that guy gives his unit crit 5s and lethal hits, which is just a bananas buff to give out to a unit. So I anticipate that we're going to see a lot more Plague Marines in the meta, and a lot more Biologist Putrefiers, Dudes and Rhinos, and that sort of thing. The other one that I think is important to point out as far as units that didn't go up is, where is he? Morty himself. So I have a strong feeling that the next archetype that's going to come out is probably going to be Champions in Contagion. You're going to see anywhere from 15 to 20 Plague Marines. You're still going to see a few of the drones. Maybe you'll see more of the melee and flamer drones that are 100 points, but you'll still see probably anywhere from 4 to 6 drones. 15 to 20 Plague Marines plus Morty is what I'm going to guess. So again, Skyrays are going to be really helpful there because Morty flies, so you get full rerolls to hit. But I think this is an opportunity where we can adjust our list a little bit for the meta, and likely still seeing Death Guard a good amount, in my opinion. I don't think this army's dead by any means. And we also have to think about what Death Guard, what Chaos Knights, what Imperial Knights are holding down in the meta as well. So before we get to that part of the discussion, I also want to touch on Imperial Knights. So, where are we at? Here we go, Imperial Knights. So these guys got hit pretty hard. As you can see, Canis only went up 35 points, which is kind of disappointing. I'm really appreciative that they touched the Helverin, because that thing is really impressive with those 8 damage 3 shots that they can give AP2 to. So again, similar thing changing here in that Lots of the lists that you're going to see are going to be more combined arms. You're probably going to see more, three bigs, four littles, or one big and 12 littles. Again, just giving an opportunity to other armies in the meta to handle Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights, Death Guard. So let's just take a quick look at stat check really quickly. And just, I have a good idea of what armies Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights, Death Guard are holding down, but it's going to give us, again, a good idea into what armies we're going to see become more popular in our um, meta. Whoops. We only want Death Guard. Cool. So you can see here that as far as really good matchups are concerned, we're going to see World Leaders, Dark Angels, Custodes. We've got Orcs, Votan, Emperor's Children. So what I'm seeing here is a lot of melee pressure, right? Blood Angels, Space Wolves, and now let's go to Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights. You're going to see a lot of the same, right? You're going to see a lot of melee pressure lists are going to have terrible matchups in this, right? World Eaters has a rough matchup. Tau has a pretty rough matchup into Imperial Knights. CSM, Dark Angels, Emperor's Children, Nids, Custodes. So we're going to see a resurgence of those armies. And, we'll see how impactful it's going to be, but we're definitely going to see those armies' win rates positively impacted by the changes to Knights, Imperial Knights, and Death Guard. Again, Emperor's Children, CSM, Blood Angels, Grey Knights. So it's all to say that in the balanced status slate, these changes, not only are they going to impact our specific matchups with these armies, but they're also going to impact other armies in the meta and how prevalent they are and what types of lists they're going to be building. So what does this mean for Tau? So I think, whoopsies. So what I think this means for Tau is that we're going to have more screens in our list. So you noticed that my last Ox Cadre list, I had much less screens than usual. I was running only one Carnivore, one Pathfinder, and two Vespid units, which I think is kind of the bare minimum, just in case I run into a melee pressure army. But I think what you're going to want to see a lot more, especially like an Ox Cadre, is like a second unit of Crew Carnivores, for example. The damage capability of the list probably stays the same, except for one wrinkle. I think Fire Knife units are really important in this upcoming meta. I think in a meta where we're going to see more marine bodies that push aggressively, like Blood Angels, like EC. Another great example would be into Death Guard Blade Marines. Having a unit like the Fire Knife unit that can look at a 10-man and do a significant damage to it, if not kill the whole unit in one activation, is going to be really important. So I think looking at somehow fitting Fire Knife units into your list, in Monka specifically, they'll do double duty, right? They're going to handle big knights. They're going to handle those drones with the lethal hits, with the full rules to hit. But they're also going to be a good piece into those melee pressure as well. Next is going to be a Pathfinder spam. So that's something that I'm testing out myself. I really think, one really strong thing into melee pressure. One really strong strategy is just dudes and transports and just lots of screens in general. I think with the changes to Pathfinders to allow them to spot themselves makes them a really good Alpha Strike target early on to both do some damage and screen your opponent's screen your opponent's front field. So you can then put something on an objective and guarantee score it while you're attacking them. So just things that I'm thinking about as we've had these pretty significant changes to other armies in the meta. Now, I don't know if I'm 100% right about this, but these are just kind of strategies that I'm going to test out within the new meta. I think 30 Pathfinders is an interesting archetype to have in Makav, for example, also an auxiliary cadre, but in general, more screens, answers to volume of marine bodies with range is going to help us, and Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights is still going to be kind of a struggle, but as long as you bring at least 3 broadsides, 2 or 3 sky rays, you're giving yourself a chance. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. It's just a short and sweet one. Want to shout out our channel's patrons. Really amazing to see the support recently with the undefeated run with Ox Cadre. So just wanted to say special shout out to you guys. Love our little Patreon community that we have going on in the Discord community. So if that's something you'd like to join, if you'd like to see me playing practice games with my army, go check it out. But without further ado, that's going to do it for today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.